is Ww3, taking a look at what's going on here between China and the United States militarily around the globe. If you don't know, the United States is saying that they want to go back to this open nuclear testing like they did decades ago. Now, they did away with that, but now the Trump administration is talking on whether to conduct the first U.S. nuclear test explosion since 1992. That was the last time that they'd done one in this manner. But there's been a lot of things that have been put in place since then, and they've been undoing a lot of deals and a lot of treaties that have been made over time, even a big one with Russia that ended the Cold War. They've also talked about pulling out of the Open Skies Treaty, all these different things. But now China is trying to say that you should abandon your plans for nuke testing or risk undermining global stability. This is kind of like a veiled threat in a way, as I see it. Basically, them saying they're rising power China. They want to be the global power. The only thing that's stopping that from happening in the history books is for the United States to fall. And if there is a global plot and a plan to do just that and bring this whole thing back up online as this new world order they want, it seems that these world leaders are working hand in hand behind the scene against all the people of all the countries. This is what you need to see. We have been sold out. We're not at war with China. China's leadership is controlled by Rothschild money, the same as ours and all the others around the globe. This is how they play both sides of every war. And all the rest of your Americans are lost in little subset movies, little soap operas here of divide and conquer, where they divide them left and right on all kinds of topics simply through their TV, which they're glued to. So, while their people here got their heads stuck in the sand, they're literally taking over the globe. They're dismantling our country right in front of your face. They're wiping out small...
All of praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Baha Hashem, Yahweh Baha Hashem, Rakaha Kadash, Eda Bohana to the elder and apostle of the Mason who do well and who taught us this 100% truth according to the scripture. A peace, blessing, and salutation to you, Akim, who are pushing this truth to the four winds of the heaven, being on the forefront of this spiritual war to make sure Jerusalem is established as a praise here on yes. You see, there is a video here from Ww3 in which he block collect the Hegelian dialect. See, the Hegelian dialect when it comes to the ownership of the technology to perfect the missiles, man. See, when you go a little bit back in history, the first nation to perfect the technology to develop these missiles, the USA, through the Manhattan Project. You see, and strangely, not too long ago, Russia also got the technology. That's what it is very strange about this, man. It's very strange. See? So, what really is going on? You needed to even go back in history during the overthrow of the Tsars in Russia. See? The overthrow of the Tsars in Russia. You see, the overthrow of the Tsars in Russia. When you go back to that king, see, that king which was overthrown by the so-called we call them Voldevisky, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. They overthrow the Tsars, in which the Tsars were Jack, man. The Tsars were against the New World Order. See? That's why the Rothschild had, you see, what you call enmity with the Tsars, man. And the Rothschild at that time was, I don't remember if it was Nathaniel Jacobo or Jacobo Rothschild. Among among one member of the Rothschild, man. He vowed to exterminate the SARS, man. You see. So what really was, or what really made the Rothschild to be pissed off about the SARS, man, because they didn't want to praise the opposition. So they overthrow the government at that time, and they established a puppet leader right there, man. So history continued up to the Manhattan Project, in which during the Manhattan Project, you see, this wicked elite, what they did is they took the formula to perfect the missile. They gave it to Russia. After that, they gave it to China. After that, they gave it to North Korea, and all of this other country, all of this NATO country, man. You see, so everything here on Earth is by design, man. You see, so Ww3 will be fought with people, you see, who know what they are doing, man. You see, on an ordinary level, you may think that this nation, they really hate each other. Trump hated Putin, or Hassan Rouhani, he hated Trump. No, man. No. All of these people are in it together, man, to bring about the population agenda. And what is the quickest way to reduce 6.5 billion people on planet Earth? Yes, it is war. See? So it's all by design, man. And here you have these everyday Joes. They don't know what the hell is going on. They think that America is at war with Russia, so we have to defend our country and the shit like that. Things don't work like that. So I have another news here. Let me read it to you. This week, it's a news week. It say Iran President Hassan Rouhani has called on signatory to the Iran nuclear deal to stand up against the U.S. after Secretary of State Mike Pompeo repeated his demand for an extended army embargo on Tehran. President Donald Trump administration is pushing for an extension to the existing army embargo on Iran, which is due to expire in October. The U.S. has warned that the embargo is needed to stop Tehran producing and supplying weapons that are helping fuel conflict across the Middle East. And all of this is all by design, man. The Hegelian dialect on every level, man. You see? And speaking on the SARS again, is a war between the SARS on Russia and the Rothschild, man. It was a quest to create an opposition to capitalist, because on the West, at that time you had a capitalist run by America, man. So you need an opposition. That's where you get the Hegelian dialect. So they created what we call communist. And at the end of the day, they give arm to capitalists and the communists, and they stepped back for this whole thing to play, man. But of course, they had puppet leaders in Russia, people like Stalin, Gorbachev, even Putin, the president of China, Xi. They are all in this a big lie known as the New World Order, man. Rouhani said that remaining signatory to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, in which what this nation are pushing, or this elite are pushing for, this other nation to isolate America, man. Because when you look at it, you take a step back and look at it, America have served its purpose, man. And the sole purpose of America, it was a kingdom built for the wicked elite to project the agenda all over the world, man. See? That's why America acted like the hammer of the earth. So, right now, they don't need America, because in America, you have this everyday Edomite, you see, they are coming against their government, you see? Because they think that they are defending their country. They think that they are patriotic. They are patriotic. They want to patriotic. You call them patriotic. They want to defend their country sincerely. So the elite don't want that, man. That's why they want to do away with America. You see. Let's continue. America already angry, upset, and waiting to take this issue to the Security Council. Rouhani said in a televised speech, according to Reuters, we want 4 permanent members of the council to stand up to America. He said, particularly we expect Russia, China to resist this U.S. approach. You see, so this is all. You see, it's all geared. This is all geared toward the isolation of America, man. Let me see. So this is the book of Jeremiah 50. You see, the book of Jeremiah 50. Let me start at verse 14. It said, put yourself in a layer against Babylon round about. And this is what Rouhani wants. And Rouhani, you better believe Rouhani is a member of the New World Order. That's why I gave you the history about what happened this nation really to get the formula to perfect the mission. It is all by design, the stage. And then you have people who complain. You have people who are stuck on whether these protests were organic or inorganic, or whether these protests were created or staged or they are organic. You have people even in this truth, man. Let me tell you something. Even in Russia and this other nation, it will have the missile. It's all staged, man. It's all part of this new world order, man. And if you go even deeper, this is the Lord's plan, man. Because Esau, he thinks that he's a master chess player, man. He uses his playbook of the Hegelian dialect. You have the synthetic, the anti-synthetic. You have communist and the capitalist. And he gave arm to capitalist, which is led by the US. And he gave army to the communist, which is led by Russia and China. You see, at the end of the day, he wanted to abandon the US. And how will he achieve that? Through war, man. And hot war, nuclear war. You see, all of these that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no one. All of this other nation, all of you that bend the bow, or in another way, all of you who were given this technology to perfect the missile, man. Spare no one. That's why this nation are raising a block against America. Because if you want to go to war with a certain nation, you start with this propaganda campaign, alliance, blocks. So this nation is raising a block against America. Say, for she has sinned against the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Shoot against her round about. She has given her hand, her foundation has fallen, her wall has thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. As he take vengeance upon her, as he has done, do unto her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that hinders the thick in the time of harvest, for fear of the. Let's continue. You know, people tend to call you when you are doing something. They call you, man. And in my phone, the app I am using, if somebody calls when I'm doing a lesson, just the lesson stop. So let's continue. It was verse 16. It says, cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that hinders the sick in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people. See? For the fear of the growing tension between this nation, man. You know, what your series is about to break out, man. Them people who are in America, they went there to do business, like the Chinese, the East Indian, Ammoni, Moab, and whoever, man, Ishmaeli. They will run to their own country, man, because of the fear of the oppressing sword. which is a nuclear missile, man. Let's jump from there to verse 23 to say, how is the harm of the whole race cut asunder? And that's what is going to happen, man. You see, like I was talking, man, Esau playbook, which is the so-called Hegelian dialect. See, that's how Esau like to play, man, by the Hegelian dialect. Where you have the synthetic, the anti-synthetic, pressure from above, pressure from below. So they expect to get a certain result. That's how they set this whole thing, man. That's why when you go to read Albert Pike memo, he says that Ww3 will be fomented between Islam and Judaism, and there you have on the side of Judaism you have Christian, in which majority of the Christian are capitalist, man. On Islam you have China and Russia backing them, which is communist. So all of these things play back in history. That's why for you to be able to understand what is going on, you need to go back to history, man. As I was talking about, is a enmity between the Rothschild and the Tsars. And the Tsars, man, of Russia were Jack, man. They were against the New World Order, man. That is Jack, man. So Rothschild, he vowed to exterminate them, man, and he did that, man. He mobilized gangsters in Russia, known as the that name is difficult, man. Something like Voldevik. They call it the Voldevik War. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, man, you may look it up. You may look it up by yourself, man. So they managed to exterminate the Tsars, man, and they said communist over there, man. So history went by, and they gave the Russians the technology to perfect the missile, like that, man. So Esau playbook, this is Esau playbook, man. Esau is trying to be God. When we do the breakdown about the mark of the beast, we tell you Esau has a God complex. See, and if you look, you cross-examine what's going on between this other nation, this whole tension about Ww3 and the nuclear missiles, man, you will come to find out Esau is playing both sides. Like how Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, he plays both sides, man. He plays the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and Esau is trying to be like that. So that's the essence of the Hegelian dialect, man. The Hegelian dialect is equals to Esau playing God. Esau God complex. See? So Esau is trying to play on both sides, the Russian side and the American side. You see? So that to push out his agenda. You see? In which Esau's playbook is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai playbook, man. Because for Esau to come up with all of this plan, man, they consult the left-hand side, and the left-hand side, they receive instruction from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai through the spiritual demon Satan, handed direct to Esau, man. So Esau's playbook, man, in which he thinks he's so smart, man, is from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, really, man. You see? So the harm of the earth will be cut asunder very soon, man. And this will happen by design, man. So all of you people who are stuck to either this is the protest staged or nature. Hey, man, look, man. At the end of the day, man, the prophecy will come to pass. Let's look at Ww3. Ww3 is designed. This president, they know what they are doing, man. Xi Jinping know what he's doing. Hussein Rouhani know what he's doing. Trump know what he's doing. All of these presidents, they know what they're doing. So you mean to tell me when Ww3 happened, you will start complaining it was staged? No. At the end of the day, prophecy, man, is taking place, man. You see? Verse 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware, thou art found in also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, you see? And that's Babylon, man. Striven against the Lord, man. Meaning that Esau, like the speaker tells, the Babylon has been a golden cup in the hand of the Lord, man. Why? Because Babylon have been used to perpetrate all of this wickedness you see on the planet. Yes, man. That's why the Lord will do away with Babylon, man. See, so going to Revelation 16, verse 14. He says, "For there is a spirit of devil walking miracle which go forth unto the king of the earth, and the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of the God the Almighty." And this is talking about what you see. Behold, they come on the thief, blessed he that watches and keep his garment, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. So this is talking about as Israelite, man. Blessed are the brothers, sisters, elders, the apostles who watch, man. You see, because Ww3 is coming, man. Ww3 is coming, and at the peak of Ww3, the Lord is coming. Yes, man. Verse 16, and he gathers them together in the place called in Hebrew tongue Armageddon, man. Simply means mountain of troop. And the seventh angel poured out his vial in the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven and from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were a voice and thunders and lightning, and there was a great earthquake such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. So this is talking about Ww3, because when this missile starting to be shot from the end of the earth, it will make a great earthquake to the extent that some island will flee away, man. Because these missiles, they will shake to the earth to the extent that it will cause the so-called seismic activities. You see, verse 19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the city of the nations fell, and a great Babylon came to remembrance before the Most High, to give unto her the cup of the wine of fierceness of his wrath. So that is going to the destruction of Babylon. You see, this other nation will be hit by the missile, but Babylon will be destroyed from coast to coast. And every island fled away, and the mountain were not found. So the mountain is talking about this nation, man. There won't be any government structure after Ww3, man, because Ww3, this missile will cause some damage, man. You see, every mountain we are not found, and the mountain we are not found. It's talking about this government and see, because mountains represent government, man. Every island, so this is talking about literal. Some island will flee away, man, because of that great earthquake, which will cause a seismic activity, man. You see, 21, and there fell upon many a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of the talent, and many blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hail, for the plague therefore was exceeding great. You see, so that hail, the weight of talent, it is talking about the missiles, man. See, it's talking about the missiles, man. See, and one more, the last scripture, Obadiah 1:7, and the many of thy confederates have brought thee even to the border, the many that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, there is none understanding him. And all of this nation who profited from this whore, from this beach, now are turning against this beach, because it is all happening by design, man. hey, man. You see? So it is happening, man. The prophet and the prophecy have always been on point, man. You see? And you have people who don't believe in the missile. It really boiled down to them not doing much research. See, if you do much research, and you will come into a conclusion why the Manhattan Project happened and why Russia obtained the missile. It's the biggest stumbling block to some people, because of the Manhattan Project. And back in the day, I used to think about the Manhattan Project. I didn't really understand, man, until I came with the truth and learned about the Hegelian dialect, man. That this nation and this president are together in this world order, man. And they want to usher in the nuclear holocaust, man, in which this is designed by Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai through his angel, man. The left-hand angel walking through his mind, manipulating him to bring about Ww3, man, regardless of the consequence. So many people stumbled during the Manhattan Project, man. Why did Russia obtain the missile the next day America obtained them? Why, man? So many people come into a conclusion that this is a scare tactic, man. This is a scare tactic, but really, this all of this president and in it together. If you are able to understand that concept, then you remove past this stumbling block, man. So with this, I'll say shalom, and I hope you are edified. On to the next.